News This Week, a production of the News and Current Affairs Department. It is a recap of some of the major reports that came your way during the week. I'm Ogali Mafiru. Thank you very much for joining us. The Delta State Governor, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, has signed into law the Delta State 2021 Appropriation Bill of 383 billion naira recently passed by the State House of Assembly. DRTV Warri Government House correspondent Miriam Weke reports that the Speaker, Right Honorable Borowori, and other principal officers of the Delta State House of Assembly had presented the appropriation bill tagged Budget of Recovery to Governor Okowa for his absence at the conference room, Government House, Asaba. The report.
It will be recalled that Governor Ifeanyi Okowa had on the 27th of October presented a budget proposal of 378 billion naira to the Delta State House of Assembly for consideration. Governor Okowa disclosed that out of the 383 billion naira approved budget, 210 billion naira was for capital expenditure, while 173 billion naira go into recurrent expenditure. The governor lauded the House and its Appropriation Committee for the thoroughness that characterized the speedy passage of the bill and pledged to sustain robust relationship between the executive and the legislature for the overall good of the state. According to the governor, the 2021 budget of the state will help to advance human capital development and infrastructural transformation of the state. He noted that Uge-Lukwale Asaba Road Dualization Project will be completed in the first quarter of 2022 and expressed joy that the new multi-billion naira state secretariat and other key projects in the state will be completed soon.
However, we are optimistic that in the year 2021 fiscal year, that things will gradually improve and we'll be able to get back to the levels of infrastructure development and the human capital development of our people. This is very necessary because there is a lot of pain, there is a lot of unemployment, and our people are generally getting restive nationally. And I pray that God will continue to help us as a nation to rediscover ourselves and to committedly work for the people of our state and our nation for the common good of all our citizens.
It further disclosed that a lot was being done to grow the agricultural sector in the state, stressing that work has commenced at the Wachuku Agro-Industrial Park. Governor Okowa commended contractors handling various state government projects remaining on site despite the economic downturn. He expressed hope that 2021 would be better as the outgoing year was characterized with daunting challenges occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic and the sharp fall in the price of crude oil in the international market.
We have continued as a state to be responsible, and we are working very closely with them to deliver on their various projects. I'm happy that some of our key projects are still very much on course, which includes the new secretarial project, almost nearing completion now.
Earlier, in an address, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Borowori, explained that the bill presented to the House by Governor Ifeanyi Okowa on October 27 was first read on the same day that it was presented, while the second reading took place on October 28 before it was read the third time on November 17 after a careful deliberation by the Assembly. Honorable Borowori disclosed that the appropriation bill was increased by 5 billion naira during sectorial scrutiny to accommodate sectors not captured before the bill was presented. He noted that the budget will stimulate and consolidate sustainable growth and development of the state economy, adding that it will help significantly in advancing the stronger Delta vision of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa-led administration in the state. The State Deputy Governor Dinkisto Twaro, the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Shedu Ebie, and the Head of Service, Mr. Regina Bayoku, were among top government present during the signing into law the 2021 Appropriation Bill.
Partnership between the state and the federal government has been identified as one of the ways to accelerate the pace of development and promote unity in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa stated this Monday when the Monitoring Committee of the National Economic Council (NEC) paid him a courtesy visit at Government House Asaba. Government House correspondent Miriam Weke filed in the report presented from our studio.
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa said that the monitoring exercise by the team was discussed at the National Economic Council, pointing out that it would help assessing the impact of projects and human capital development in various states. Governor Okowa noted that a lot has been achieved by his administration in the area of youth empowerment since 2015 till date, adding that it has meaningfully engaged the youth and strengthened peace and development in the state, while pledging to do more in the empowerment of youths, women and the girl child. The governor appealed to youths to partner with government in bringing the needed human capital development and infrastructural projects to all parts of the state.
There's no doubt that we are in very difficult times, and we need the cooperation of all, particularly our youth, for us to be able to move forward in terms of achieving peace and security.
Earlier, the leader of the monitoring team and Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Akpan Okon, said that they were in the state to know how the state has fared in line with the decisions reached at NEC, headed by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo. Mr. Okon, represented by the Secretary of the Committee, Mr. Daniel Ikara, pointed out that the team was irrevocably committed to going around the country to see the human capital and infrastructural transformation efforts of the various states. Some top government officials, including Deputy Governor Dikin Kingsley Otuaru, were present during the visit.
The State House of Assembly Committee on Housing has directed the Delta Development and Property Authority (DDPA) to revoke undeveloped plots of lands which have been allocated to over 5 years. For over 5 years, the chairman of the committee, Honorable Ferguson Onwo, gave the directive when he led the members on an oversight inspection of properties being managed by the DDPA in the State Capital Territory. Correspondent Ikemweke was there for DRTV News.
The House Committee member, including the Chief Whip, Honorable Pat Ajudwa, and the Minority Leader, Honorable Innocent Anidi, visited the DTPA estate on the Ibuzo, Asaba, at the Okwe Housing Estate, Asaba. At the DTPA estate on the Asaba-Ibuzo Expressway, the committee observed that many plots of land were underdeveloped, creating room for encroachment by alleged land grabbers and speculators. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Ferguson Onwu, noted that once the land has been allotted and the allotee failed to pay within 6 months, the land would be revoked. The lawmaker, who represents Isoko South 2, also pointed out that the failure by the allotee to develop their land 5 years after payment, the DTPA has the power to revoke and reallot. Honorable Onwu said the agency must live up to its responsibility to ensuring that all allotee commence immediate development or have their allocation cancelled or reallocated. He directed the management of DDPA to submit documents used for land allocation to the committee by Monday next week to examine and ascertain whether government land or part of it has been legally acquired or converted to private use. Honorable Onwu stated that all illegal occupants should be identified and recommendation made for recovery and appropriate sanctions. The committee chairman observed that DDPA has been empowered to generate funds for government, even as he frowned at the fact that the organization had not been able to fully harness its potential in revenue allocation. At the Okwe Housing Estate, the committee discovered that several illegal structures that were not part of the original design of the complex have defaced the environment. Honorable Onwu warned the occupant involved in such acts to desist and directed the destruction of illegal structures.
We have come here today to do on-the-ground assessment of what developments they have carried out in the last 1.5 years, and also know their challenges, especially the occupants and residents of the place.
The chairman of the Delta Development and Property Authority, DDPA, Mr. Ima Utomi, said they have entered into partnership with the private sector in bridging the housing deficit in the state, pointing out that the agency was also faced with obvious challenges. Mr. Utomi commended the committee members for the inspection visit.
Before the enactment of the Delta State Environmental Conservative Law has passed through second reading on the floor of the State House of Assembly, the lead sponsor and member representing Warri Southwest constituency, Honorable Dennis Emomotimi-Guo, who led debate on the merits of the bill, said it will be one of the best laws the posterity will inherit from the 7th Assembly. Assembly correspondent Ikem Weke sent in the report presented from our studio.
Honorable Emomotimi-Guo said the bill, which has 7 parts, 50 clauses and 7 schedules, will provide for the management of the environment in respect to the conservation of the biodiversity and the ecosystem. It also seeks to set aside funds for the financing of the government deforestation programs, protect and preserve animals and plants that are near extinction, as well as constitution of green areas as game reserve in the state. The lawmaker pointed out that the issue of conservation of the environment has become a global phenomenon, especially with the clamor for climate change. He explained that much of the natural resources are non-renewable and may get exhausted anytime. Clause 3 of the bill provides for the establishment of Environmental Conservation Department and appointment of scientific officers to be known as Environmental Conservation Officers.
The bill, what is simply seeking is that to provide for the management of our environment in respect of the conservation of the biodiversity and the ecosystem.
The Warri South representative hinted that the Clause 7 of the bill makes it unlawful for anybody to enter into a biodiversity reserve for the purpose of mining and other activities without the permission of the appropriate authority. Honorable Guo stressed that there are special plants that are endangered and almost extinct, noting that the proposed law will make it an offense for anyone to uproot, fall, injure, or stripe off the bark or leaves of any of the plants. He stated that the proposed law will reduce the menace of erosion, which is destroying the environment. The lawmaker said those who cause damages to any plant species in the red list shall be liable to 2 years imprisonment or 10,000 naira fine per stump. He disclosed that the bill also provides that whoever purchases, sells, or possesses any plant in the red list commits an offense and shall be liable on conviction to 1 year imprisonment or a fine of 10,000 naira or both. In their contributions, the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Boro Preo, Chief Whip of the House, Pat Ajudwa, the Deputy Chief Whip, Solomon Igrakwata, Member representing Ika North East, Anthony Eliakori, the member representing Isoko South, Honorable Ferguson Onwo, said that there must be a deliberate effort to conserve the environment. The lawmakers, while commending the initiative of the proposed law, stressed that it was about regulation and restoration of the environment for future generations.
Look at the rate of lumbering going on in our forests. Lumbering. All our logs are being transported to the north, to the east, to the west. And our forests are nearly empty. There is need for a law like this to protect even the rate of lumbering, so that we will not all resort to moving our buildings with iron.
This bill is a good one. It talks about our environment, talks about deforestation and forestation. Because what we are experiencing now, even while we are in the center of high-powered air conditioners, we are still sweating.
From the bill, that obviously the objective, the essence of this bill, Mr. Speaker, is to protect biodiversity.
No member spoke against the bill. The Speaker, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborere, who presided over the plenary, referred to the bill to the House Committee on Environment, Oil and Gas for further legislative actions.
Law to repeal the establishment of School of Nursing and Midwifery and enact the establishment of colleges of nursing and midwifery in Delta State has been read for the first time on the floor of the State House of Assembly. Assembly correspondent Ikem Weke reports that the bill is being sponsored by the member representing Warri South 1 constituency and Chairman House Committee on Health, Honorable Austin Uroye, and 20 others. The report.
Honorable Austin Oroye, who moved the motion for the first reading of the bill, has sought the leave of the House to bring in the bill with a short title, Delta State Colleges of Nursing and Midwifery Bill 2020. The second reading of the bill has been slated for 17th December 2020. Meantime, the report of the House Committee on Health on a bill for a law to prohibit all forms of discrimination and give protection, access to justice, support and care for all persons living with HIV/AIDS in Delta State has been submitted for further deliberation. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Austin Oroye, disclosed that the bill was referred to the committee on 16 September 2020 after a second reading. The lawmaker said, pursuant to the mandate, the committee met and examined the provisions of the bill and observed that it had 9 parts and 35 sections with a view to ensure that persons living with HIV/AIDS live a meaningful and fulfilled life without discrimination and stigmatization. Honorable Oroye explained to gather inputs from the public and stakeholders. The committee held a public hearing where the State Ministry of Health, Justice, Women Affairs and Social Development, the Delta State Agency for the Control of HIV/AIDS, Hospital Management Board, Network of People Living with HIV/AIDS in Nigeria and other stakeholders made presentations. It stated that inputs from stakeholders were considered in the proposed amendments by the committee for further deliberation by the House.
And enact the establishment of College of Nursing and Midwifery in Delta State and other related exomosis.
The Speaker, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevori, announced Tuesday 8 December 2020 for Committee of the Whole on the bill. Also at plenary, they have screened and confirmed the reappointment of Chief Ikem Okwofu as Chairman Delta State Civil Service Commission. The motion for the confirmation was moved by the Majority Leader, Honorable Tim Owefere, and adopted. Chief Okwofu had earlier been introduced by the member representing Anosha North in the House, Honorable Emeka Nwaobi, who also applied that she be given the privilege to take a bow.
Between the ages of 9 months and 44 years in the state have been called upon to come out and get vaccinated against the deadly yellow fever disease, irrespective of the previous vaccination status. DRTV Warri Government House Asaba correspondent Miriam Wake reports that Governor Kowa made the call on Thursday in Asaba while flagging off the yellow fever mass vaccination campaign in the state. The report.
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa said that the vaccination exercise, which is free of charge, would be carried out in local government areas of the state for 10 days. The governor emphasized that the exercise was aimed at achieving 0% of infection of the disease transmitted by infected mosquitoes. Governor Okowa enjoined local government council chairmen and other political office holders, traditional rulers, religious leaders, opinion leaders, and other stakeholders in the state to mobilize the people in their domain for the vaccination, which according to him would be in designated points across local government areas. He said the state government was able to curtail the spread of yellow fever and fatality from the infection in Ika Northeast and Ika South local government areas of the state due to early testing and emergency vaccination of residents of the 2 local government areas. Governor Kowa advocated for a healthy environment as a positive step towards warding off mosquitoes that are major carriers of the viral infection.
And I'm glad that today we are launching the statewide campaign beyond the campaign that took place in Ughelli North local government area in the year 2018. I'm glad that all is set and everything needed has been provided for the campaign to start. The vaccines, we have been told, are very safe and free.
While commending healthcare professionals for their support in tackling the outbreak of the disease in the 2 local government areas, Governor Kowa expressed appreciation to the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, World Health Organization, United Nations Children's Fund, Nigeria Center for Disease Control for their support and collaboration towards healthcare delivery in the state. Dr. Kowa appealed to facilitators and health workers assigned for the exercise to give their best, as his administration was committed to funding all programs that would promote the health of citizens. Earlier, the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Nonye, disclosed that the threat of yellow fever looms largely than ever before, especially for thousands of children across the state and the country, pointing out that the ease and speed of population movement, rapid urbanization, and resurgence of mosquitoes due to global warming had significantly increased the risks of urban outbreaks at an alarming speed, while saying that yellow fever was a public health issue that could be controlled through preventive mass vaccination campaign and routine immunization. The commissioner stated that the immunization campaign was part of efforts to eliminate the pandemic globally by 2026, adding that the campaign was a strategy to end the devastating disease by ensuring that most vulnerable communities have access to the vaccine. In their goodwill messages, representatives of the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency lauded Governor Kowa for championing the fight against yellow fever, saying that the flag off of the campaign against yellow fever would, among other things, kick the disease out of the state. They said that there was need for all to maximize the opportunity provided by the mass vaccination against yellow fever so as to checkmate the disease in the state. High point of the event was the administering of the yellow fever vaccine by Governor Kowa on a student of the Unity School, Asaba.
With that report, we conclude news this week. Special thanks to my executive producer, Gift Simode. I'm Ogali Mafru, and thank you for watching.